public relations system here, this microphone and all. It's supposed to pick up everybody in the room. And when it blacked out for our planning board meeting, what do you think picked up everybody in the room? One iPhone. Unbelievable. Technology at its best. Okay, everybody here? We're all here and accounted for? Or at least we're all here. Adequate notice of the February the 12th, 2015 meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, and by hand delivering, mailing, or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: Morris County's Daily Record, the Star Ledger, Hanover Eagle, and by filing same with the Township Clerk. I have a roll call, Mr. Administrator.
Committeeman Gallagher.
Here.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Here.
Committeeman Bruno's away on business in Chicago. Committeeman Capola. Here. And Mayor Francioli.
Here.
4 members present, sir.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, would you all please rise, those that may, join me in a pledge of allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. We have a presentation tonight for Mr. Olson, Howard Olson.
Not here.
And Howie is not here? Okay. Well, I'm taking his plaque home then. It's real simple. But in any event, do you have his plaque?
Yeah.
Perhaps he's sick or...
Yeah.
He didn't call.
And then we'll get it to him. Howard is leaving our Board of Adjustment, and he's still on our Substance Awareness Committee, I believe?
No.
Right?
No longer.
Oh, no longer as well?
No.
All right. Howie has put in, to say he's put in numerous years of service to Hanover Township is an understatement, not just on the municipal end, but along with our sports families, etc. He's been the voice of the Tigers for quite a while. Been a good friend to Hanover in all ways, very, very active in supporting all of the programs that our recreation department has had. We have a plaque to him for his service in grateful recognition of outstanding dedication to the residents of Hanover Township as an elected official of the township. Howie, as many may know, for several terms was a township committeeman as well. He's been involved with our regional high school district, member of the Board of Education and Commissioners of the Board of Adjustment and Substance Awareness Council. And this is for his service from 2003 to 2008. And in any event, we're going to see that Howard gets this, and I think were he here, I would have Committeeman Faramasca, who's Director of Planning, present that to him. And once again, we're seeing some valuable volunteers who are leaving us and have given up years and years of time, and we depend on them so greatly. But we appreciate it, Howie. We appreciate all the years of service you've given us, and I know you're going to go on. You have other obligations. You go on to other things, but thank you from all of us in Hanover, truly. Okay, having said that, and moving on to a portion of our meeting for the public. Motion to open to the public for any items not appearing on the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. Anyone would like to address the Township Committee at this time can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record.
Would now be an appropriate time to address item number 8, or will it be?
Can you come forward to me?
She wants to address number 8.
No, this is not the time.
Okay.
You have a particular, for an ordinance?
It's person-to-person transfer.
Oh, okay. There'll be an opportunity when we introduce the ordinance, right?
Okay, thank you.
Move we close. Second.
Okay. All right, Mr. Administrator.
As we continue, ladies and gentlemen, with the agenda, we have the approval of the Township Committee minutes, regular Township Committee meeting of January 22nd, 2015.
So move.
We have a motion for approval, second. All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Item number 7, we have this evening, ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of the 2015 current fund budget. And of course, I don't want to steal the mayor's thunder, but it means that the budget will be introduced tonight without an increase in the municipal portion of the tax rate, which is a credit to all the members of the Township Committee and department heads for working very hard toward that goal. I just want to read some numbers into the record. The appropriations within the caps for municipal purposes, $18,841,186. The appropriations excluded from the cap, $3,118,390,000. The total general appropriations, total budget will be $25,085,704.06. And the amount to be raised by taxes for support of the municipal budget will be $15,965,040.06. The public hearing is scheduled for the Township Committee meeting on the 12th day of March at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning the budget excuse me, will be given the opportunity to be heard. So at this time, may we have a motion to introduce the budget? We have a motion by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Faramasca. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced.
We, as the administrator said, and I really have to comment and praise this Township Committee. This is the second year in a row that Hanover Township has delivered zero increase for our property owners or residents here in Hanover Township and our businesses. And I think that's a very strong economic plus. As it was brought to my attention, the Star Ledger reports that Hanover is one of the top 3 towns in the state of New Jersey with the lowest tax rate for our residential taxpayers. And we're very proud of that. But even as well as we delivered a budget in this fashion, we were able to do some things in capital that I think are going to be a great improvement, not the least of which for the youth of our township. We're going to continue with the improvements that we have on our already completed fields. One field is now earmarked to be a turf field. That's going to be looked at by our recreation department along with Public Works. Mr. Gallagher and Mr. Bruno will be looking into that. In addition, we are planned, cigar box budget, folks, we are planning for a field house for our our brickyard field. And when I say field house, that will provide sanitary toilets, etc., for the field house and an area there for the public's comfort. That will be budgeted for both in this year and in next year. Where certain of these projects are concerned, none of it will be coming out of general funding. It will be coming out of escrows, which have been accrued in recreation as far as those portions of money are concerned. They'll be matched with monies appropriately used from open space funding that can be used toward the betterment of these fields. So we're very proud the way we have creatively put together this. We have a new dial-a-ride van. It's in service now. Our seniors, I hope, are appreciating that. Comfortable, larger van. That's in service. We've appropriated a certain amount of money that we're going to be putting into the budget this year to begin a study. We are a very succinct study as to senior citizen housing here in the township. That study will focus on proper locations within the zones for such housing, be it access to shopping, access to transportation, etc. We have budgeted in that regard. We're looking at some other things in the budget that I'm sure you'll be reading about. We have a release to our Hanover Eagle weekly regional news that gives more detail about some of the things that are going to be taken underway here, not the least of which in our Public Works Department that's going to be headed up by Mr. Gallagher this year, is to begin the process of looking at the division of forestry in the town. It will need some equipment. We're budgeting for that as well, cigar box. The reason I keep mentioning cigar box is I keep telling our folks, as I did at our Senior Citizens Club, we are still no bonded debt. And again, Hanover is unique in that respect. We will continue at no bonded debt and still be able to provide these improvements that we talked about. So having said all of that, and do you need a motion on introduction, or you just...
We did it.
You did, okay, you're done. All right, done and done, signed.
Okay, as we proceed with the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, the next item is number 8, public hearing on the person-to-person transfer of plenary retail consumption license number 1412-33-006-004 from Fenway Incorporated, trading as Half Point Pub, to Village Supermarket of New Jersey, LP. Just for the record, excuse my voice with my laryngitis.
I want to get them out of here because I'm going to be sick tomorrow.
We have, just for the record, we'll note that on August 25th, 2014, 2 applications were filed with my office. The first was an application for the person-to-person and place-to-place liquor license transfer of the liquor license from Fenway to Village Supermarket, and then the application for the place-to-place liquor license transfer to, I want to say decommission, but to de-license a portion of the ShopRite in order to accommodate the plenary retail consumption license. Subsequently, 2 public hearings were held by the governing body on December 11th and January the 8th, I believe, dealing with these 2 applications. The public hearing was supposed to continue this evening on both these applications. However, and correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, we did receive a letter from a law firm representing Mack Cowley and Hanover 3201 that they had filed an Open Public Records Act request on the file, which is before the Township Committee on these liquor license applications, and had requested a 30-day postponement of the hearing from tonight. At the last Township Committee meeting on the 22nd of January, the Township Committee did in fact agree to that postponement. However, in the meantime, the Township Committee has felt that it would entertain a public hearing this evening on the person-to-person transfer of the liquor license from Fenway to Village Supermarket of New Jersey, and it is for that reason that it is listed as such on the agenda. I'll also note for the record that Mr. Scrivo, the attorney representing Village Supermarket, is present here this evening. And unless there is any comment from the Township Committee, I would ask for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
So moved by Mr. Faramaska, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call to open the public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Capola. And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there any person in chambers wishing to be heard concerning this proposed transfer of the person-to-person application?
And,
If so, please state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Giorgio, just
Sure.
before we proceed any further, with respect to the application, I also have reviewed the merits of every member of the committee has standing, and it's appropriate for them to participate. No one has a conflict of interest where I've advised them to recuse. So for the record, the entire membership, Mr. Bruno is not here this evening, but the entire membership can participate from a legal perspective on this or the other matter that's pending. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Settler.
Good evening, council members. My name is Caitlin Cutnello. I'm an attorney from the law firm of Bubb, Grogan & Coca, located at 25 Prospect Street in Morristown, New Jersey. I'm here this evening on behalf of Peter Gilbreth, also an attorney in Morristown, who unfortunately could not make it this evening. Mr. Gilbreth, on behalf of his client, has been in touch with Hanover Township attorney Fred Samrow over the last few months regarding lack of compliance with Town Ordinance, Section 82, subsection 3, dealing with alcoholic beverages and the hours at which alcoholic beverages may be served, as well as their concern with the lack of enforcement of that ordinance. I'll begin very briefly by providing the council with a summary of Mr. Gilbert's communications with Hanover Township Council. The communications began on December 16th of 2014 regarding the concern with the sale of wine and beer at ShopRite during the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. At ShopRite on East Hanover Ave in Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. Communication was continued throughout the end of December and again in the beginning of January of 2015 regarding ongoing violations as well as potential legal steps that could be pursued with regard to these ongoing violations. Additional telephone messages were left, and eventually on January 21st of 2015, Mr. Gilbreth spoke with Tracy Schnurr, an associate of Mr. Samrouse, to indicate the continued concern with the violations of the town ordinance and the lack of enforcement. In that regard, Town Ordinance 82-3 provides, and I'll very briefly read it for council members this evening. It's a little bit wordy, but I'll get the pertinent portions for you. No licensee shall sell, serve, or allow, permit, or suffer the sale, service, or delivery of any alcoholic beverage, or permit the consumption of any alcoholic beverage on licensed premises. And for this, the pertinence of this evening, it's on Sundays, during the hours specified below. And on Sundays, the prohibited hours are between 2 a.m. and 1 p.m., except, however, that on Sunday, plenary retail distribution licensees only may sell spirituous liquors in original containers, meaning packaged goods, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. Black's Law Dictionary gives a formal definition of spirituous liquors as inflammable liquids produced by distillation. The term does not include wine because it's fermented, as well as beer. So in plain terms, spirituous liquors refers to hard liquors such as vodka, rum, etc. So in other words, under the town ordinance, no alcohol may be served between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Sunday, except for spirituous liquors, such as hard alcohol. That means beer and wine sales are prohibited between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Sunday. Nevertheless, in contravention of the ordinance, ShopRite has been and continues to sell beer and wine between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Sunday. Every Sunday that goes by, continued violations of this ordinance, and there is a lack of enforcement of this ordinance. ShopRite's failure to comply with this town ordinance in connection with their current retail distribution license raises a question about whether ShopRite will be a good steward of a new license. It is our position that due to these concerns, ShopRite should not be granted a new consumption license, and there should be enforcement of the current town ordinance 82-3 with regard to the sale at a retail distribution licensee. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And for the
Thank
record,
you,
did you
Counsel.
indicate who you represent? I didn't hear. Did you indicate who you
I
represent?
did not. It is a concerned citizen regarding the lack of enforcement and the new license that is proposed to be transferred to ShopRite.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Mayor, if I may just say for the record, I think, we did look at this, we discussed this with the administration, but the interpretation and of the ordinance, what the speaker is saying is that you can sell hard liquor between, those hours on Sundays, but you can't sell beer and wine. And, the reality of it is it's a very old ordinance. It was adopted back in 1950, and I think there's, over time, this could happen. Appears to be some type of contradiction if you can sell hard liquor but not beer and wine. So what I may say, is that the administration, as far as its interpretation, and may have to revisit the ordinance to address what would appear to be potentially just an inconsistent position. Saying you can sell hard liquor but not beer and wine. It's a matter of interpretation that our office doesn't necessarily agree with that position, and that at this time we didn't find that there would be anything that would be actionable, for the record. That's our position. So, down the road, I think it did trigger the inquiry to look at this ordinance and address anything, that may be subject to a debate. But at this time, I have to say, I cannot say that that we found that there be a cause for a violation because of the way that it's now written and how it's been over time. So.
I appreciate that, Counsel, and we had earlier discussions, as you know, and we will be reviewing that ordinance. There are also some concerns that the Township Committee had, which needs clarification on interpretations of some of the areas of what spirits are and what they are not. So we realize there is some inconsistency there that has to be addressed. We also realize that with that over time there may or may not have been a lack of enforcement, but we'll address that as well. And you know, we'll notify the public accordingly. John.
Mr. Samuel, just for the record, correct? I thought I may have misheard this, but having sat through the two presentations of ShopRite, ShopRite said that alcohol would not be served if they were approved, nor will alcohol be sold past 10 p.m. because the store closes at 10 p.m.
Right.
So this whole idea of this idea of 1 a.m., I don't see that being relevant.
I think they're referring to Sunday mornings.
Talking about Sunday morning only?
Just Sunday morning only. That's the way I understood it from the communication.
Because it was my understanding 10 p.m. would be when the
no.
store closed, they would not be
It was Sunday
served.
morning that there is apparently, they could provide, I guess, evidence that there are sales, but it's also their position that it violates the township code, and it's our interpretation that the township code could be basically considered under two different interpretations. One being the way that the individual had spoke, and the other that that would not rise to the level of that activity being a violation. So with that being said, it needs to be revisited and addressed for clarification.
Okay.
It is foremost before the committee. It had some discussion already, so we will probably reach we'll get some opinions and get some decisions and clarifications on this in the days ahead.
And that would be done by way of an ordinance amendment, so there'd be an introduction and there'd be an advertisement and a public hearing, however the Township Committee would want to address it.
Anyone else like to be heard at this time?
Sorry.
Go ahead. It's all right. I want you out of here.
Name and address for the record, sir.
Thomas Scrivo, McElroy Deutsch, 1300 Mount Kemble Avenue, Morristown, New Jersey, representing Village Supermarket. Mayor and Council, a couple of questions. And I know the Administrator Clerk had referenced that the hearing for tonight had been adjourned. We were informed on two occasions by Mr. Semro in writing that had been adjourned. I had a telephone communication with Tracy Schnurr yesterday, who told me that it was not going to be on. And I just wonder kind of why that was told to me yesterday.
Why such short notice of informing you?
No.
I was never informed by the.
Never informed.
You were informed. We told you that there was a postponement, and I wrote you a letter and indicated that there was a request for a postponement, and it was granted.
Yes. What I'm talking about is I never knew it was going to be on tonight after Mr. Semro wrote me two letters saying it was adjourned
Well,
until...
Mr. Scrivo, I mean, the reason why it was put on tonight was in response to your correspondence that you sent late last week. We put the agenda together, and I communicated your concerns to the administration, and we thought it had merit to put this application on for tonight. And I think actually what the committee's doing is they're going along with your request to do so. So if you want to challenge or if you're not happy that it was listed tonight, or if you weren't notified, and are you saying you want this postponed?
What I'm saying is, I was
Do
never
you- do you
notified.
want- Mr. Scrivo, do you want this postponed tonight?
I'm going to raise a couple of
No, but
issues.
do you want this considered tonight, or do you want it postponed? Because
Here-
before we go any further, I think I need to know that.
I think you need to know, yes, and I'd like, this is a
You-
public
but
hearing,
you-
so I would like to be heard entirely on why,
That's
what our
fine, but
position
I'm
is.
asking you, but if you want to be heard, do you want this heard tonight, or don't you? Your letter asked for it to be heard, and that's what we're doing.
My letter asked for a number of things, and in my conversation with the Township Attorney's Office yesterday, I was told in no uncertain terms that this wouldn't be on tonight, and that this couldn't be on tonight because, quote, "the agenda was set." That's what I was told. And so what I wanted to know is, from the Township Council Committee standpoint, why, when you have an agenda posted Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, up through and including this morning, I am holding the agenda that has been posted for 4 days by this township.
Excuse me, Mr. Scrivo,
which
are you
indicates that
speaking
this
about
was
the
on.
application? Because that's what it should be limited to.
The application.
This is just the application for the person-to-person transfer, which,
what I'm
which,
referring
by
to.
the way, the administration is recommending it be approved. So if you want to continue, go ahead. But if you don't want this heard tonight, please let us know.
I'm raising issues with regard to this committee's action tonight, and our concerns from Village's standpoint, because we stand in the shoes as the applicant, and we want to make sure that the committee does everything right. And one of the things we want to make sure that the committee does is to comply with both the spirit and the letter of the Open Public Meetings Act. And what we've seen is that for 4 days, the public, two indications, right? So on January 22nd, when the public had no idea that this application was going to be on, the governing body took the decision to adjourn it. And it did so on the basis of a letter that was received by Matt Calley at 432 fax to town council, to the township clerk's office, not requesting to be a participant, but requesting that they might want to consider participating in the hearing. And so on that basis, we were not informed. Village was not told that the matter would be addressed on 122.
Mr. Scrivo, this is about the person-to-person.
Yes.
It's not, this is not about the place-to-place transfer.
There are
This
two
public hearing is
two
just
distinct areas
about
here.
the person-to-person transfer.
I'm
So
very
I
aware-
ask comments limited to this person-to-person application. If you want to be heard on the other matters, then you can do so during the public portion of the meeting.
No,
This
because-
is just the person-to-person application,
Well-
that which you asked for that to be considered, and that which the administration is recommending that it be approved. So,
well-
you know, I mean, I'm just...
Do I have a right to speak?
No, not
certainly
about
you
other
have the
matters.
floor.
This is about your person-to-person application. Not about the place-to-place.
Gentlemen,
These applications...
What is the issue, specifically, what is the issue at hand? Do you feel that your office and that your client has not been giving sufficient notice of any of this agenda item tonight regarding the license?
We've been given no notice of this agenda item tonight. And in fact, I had a direct discussion with the Township Attorney's Office yesterday, who received my letter last week, who said this wouldn't be on.
Do you feel, as counsel says, that it's a basis for us not to take any action tonight?
My concern is this, and I'm trying to limit my comments.
If there's a gray area that we have not responded to with proper notification to you, your client, and/or the public, we are more than willing to carry this into your next license hearing date.
Well, I just want to recite for the benefit of the Township Committee what I was presented yesterday. And what I was presented yesterday was, it can't be on tonight, but we'll give you a special meeting. And we'll start the meeting at 5 o'clock one night and get me dates. So
Right.
that was what was presented to us.
That's correct, Mr.
Okay.
Scrivo. And again, we're talking about your place-to-place transfer, because that's what's been the subject of all these hearings. Okay?
Well,
And if it wasn't conveyed to you that we were going to try to get on the agenda, the person-to-person transfer, well, you know what? We did, and it was at the request of you, and, you know, the place-to-place transfer is what we were referring to, and we indicated that we were trying to get a special meeting, again, as a result of your request, and again, we did convey to you that it would be at a date that which you were available, that we could all be available.
And we appreciate
So
that.
please,
We very
you know, let's not cast a dispersion on the township committee, that the township committee is trying to do something that is a disservice to your client when it was placed on the agenda, albeit at the last minute, with the recommendation to get approved after your request of last Friday around 5 o'clock, which the administration got after the snow day this Tuesday, and we got it on. Now, if it wasn't relayed to you that it was on tonight, my apologies. But don't, under those circumstances, this is a hearing just on the person-to-person transfer. So I don't think it's fair to come and cast dispersions on the township committee on the place-to-place transfer.
I'm not saying any
maybe there's some
dispersions.
advantage in us tying this into the hearing of the license that's up and coming,
It sounds to me like Mr. Scrivo's not pleased that this is on for tonight with the recommendation to approve it.
Maybe, council.
I'm doing you a favor. I misunderstand. I don't know.
You're not misunderstanding it, Mr.
I'm
Capola.
confused as to what.
This is a public hearing just for the person-to-person transfer, not the place-to-place transfer, and it's one which there's a recommendation to approve.
Well, my assumption is that maybe council's client does not want one without the other, and if they want this in a combined hearing, that's fine with me. So let's.
If I may?
Yes, you may.
Our concern is in light of the manner in which this was on the agenda, off the agenda, and in light of the concerns that Matt Calley has raised and Matt Calley's appearance out there, that the council's action tonight in approving this, albeit at the last minute and albeit limited to the person-to-person, may jeopardize the council's determination and may jeopardize the success of that transfer, whatever it may be. I know there's a recommendation to that it be approved. I don't pretend in any way, shape, or form to imply what the governing body will do when considering it. My concern is procedural. We didn't know about it. That means the public didn't know about it. The world didn't know about it. And if somebody wants to challenge it, there may be a concern. So it would be better, at least from our standpoint, to make sure that the Township Committee complies with all of the notice requirements that are required in addressing such licenses, particularly given the, in your words, Mayor, controversial application involving Village ShopRite. Now, one may say that the person-to-person isn't so controversial, but it seems to be that anything that relates to that is controversial.
Here's the question. And you're the attorney of record for the applicant. It's a yes or no. Do you want this application heard this evening, or do you want it heard at a different time? That's it. And if you want it heard at a different time, then that would be my recommendation as legal counsel to the governing body. If you want it heard this evening, then the governing body is prepared to go forward. But so please, if you could just, then you can go ahead, but I need to understand, which would you prefer this evening?
We believe that in light of the Township Committee's actions and the notice issues, that it is too subject and that it is jeopardized under the law. That's our position. Now, I don't want to give the council advice, but that's our position. And
So
we're
do you want
concerned.
it this evening, or do you want it heard a different night? You are the applicant. Do you want it heard this evening?
We want it heard when notice is proper and the least challenge possible. That's when we want it heard.
Can we remove it off the agenda? I really think we ought to do that then.
What, George?
I recommend we remove it off the agenda.
Not yet. I think Mr. Scrivo is the applicant, and I'd like to know what he wants. Does he want it heard or doesn't he? He recited how this matter was on the agenda today. As far as I'm concerned, the administration has the right to add things to the agenda. I apologize if you weren't made aware, but you're here, so you are aware of it, okay? You made the request for it to be heard by this governing body last Friday after 5 o'clock when I received this. And by Tuesday, I got it to the administration, and today's Thursday, because Monday, I believe there was a snow event. So, if you want it heard this evening, which the governing body has acquiesced to that request, you can. If you believe that it shouldn't be heard because you're concerned about something about the validity of your application's approval, then we'll move it.
We have that concern.
You just have to, because I'm not going to get caught in the game here, because what you said is, if it's not heard, you threatened the governing body with a lawsuit. You said the governing body would be subject to any damages. Now you're sitting here and you're saying, well, I asked for it to be heard, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to you if you want to hear it. If you want to hear it, I'm saying there could be a problem, which I don't really understand. And if you don't want to hear it, you know, I still could hold you for damages. So you just have to be clear. Do you want this heard tonight, or don't you?
I think that the Township Committee has to be clear, and I would prefer, based on the recommendation and the offer by the Township Attorney, that this be heard all at once. And that our letter did raise the issue of the person-to-person, but we also asked in that letter, person-to-person, place-to-place.
I can agree with you.
And the ordinance.
I can agree with you, and I can agree with you for various reasons, in your client's interest. You know, to see that this is tied to and not only the exchange of license, but to the other hearing aspect of serving liquor. If you want to bring it together, Fred, in at that hearing, if that's that council's.
You know,
I understand it.
Mr. Scrivo and his client would prefer for this to be heard together. That I don't see a problem with that. But it really, that's the committee is saying you will do it either way. And if he's saying he wants it heard together,
my first concern as chair is that we have complied with all aspects of public notification properly to have this on the agenda tonight. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the
Okay.
governing body has the right to.
Then I leave the decision up to council as to whether or not he would like us to proceed or not proceed. And your indication is that you'd like to have this heard at the meeting that's been scheduled for 30 days from the date of.
Originally, it was supposed to be this evening, as Mr. Scrivo correctly pointed out. But then there was the postponement granted by the Township Committee.
Which we were not consulted on.
That postponement would bring us to the March 12th meeting, but in the meantime, I've been having discussions with Mr. Samrau to see if we could expedite that and have a special meeting of the Township Committee, possibly on March the 5th, if the governing body is available, and of course, if you and your clients are available. But that's something we're still discussing.
Well, it was offered to me yesterday by Ms. Schnur, and we would be interested in doing that, particularly given, and I know that this is a, you know, that when we get to the public portion part of this, it does take some time. So, you know, she offered the idea, and I understand the council hasn't decided on that yet, but she offered the idea of starting early one night.
Correct.
So that we could conclude in one night. And so it would be our preference to handle all of that in one night, conclude it in one night, so we could get a decision. Because it's very possible that with all the busy agenda items of the Township Committee, even if we schedule it for the next meeting, we may not finish it. So that's one thing we really would be very much against.
Well, that's why the idea for a special meeting, because there's so many other issues for the Township Committee to consider. Rather than do it at an 8:30 meeting, do it perhaps at 4:30.
We would much prefer that.
For the March 12th date, which would have been the date, given the objector, Matt Calley on this, is the committee willing to publish for an earlier meeting date that evening to begin this hearing, where it would be 8:30? Do you want to suggest a 7:30?
7:30 is fine.
On March 12th.
Yeah.
And not do it March the 5th? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Do it March
don't want
the
to do,
5th?
yeah.
5th?
Don't want to.
Why would you want to do it the 5th if you're going to go to the 12th on the 30 days that you got from Cali?
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, Mr. Samar, I got a question.
Yeah.
I need to understand whether the applicant wants to hear tonight this person-to-person transfer. It's yes or no.
Right.
It's simply yes or
hearing he
no.
wants
Right,
to
it's my
combine.
opinion that you are within your right as a governing body to hear this application tonight. Mr. Scrivo has indicated now that his client would prefer that this application for the person-to-person be decided the same evening as the place-to-place. I would almost believe that based on that representation, he would probably want you to vote first on the place-to-place don't know if we can, but anyway, he wants them both on the same night. Let me just put it that way. And I think is that correct, Mr. Scrivo?
But tied, if I may be so
Yeah.
bold, tied to at least a meeting where it would be specially set so that we would conclude it that
I
night.
think the Township Committee is agreeable to an earlier starting date for you for that night, but again, you wish to, you wish to combine these actions on that night,
And conclude them.
Right.
if possible.
But I want to answer
Well-
Mr. Faramaska's question. So for this application, for the moment, the applicant is, I just want to confirm, to answer your question, he is asking that this not be considered right now, and that it be considered with the person-to-person
Do we carry this?
application. He's asking you to carry it.
Do you
He's
carry
here
it?
to verify
Right,
that.
I just wanted
Right,
I just wanted
understand.
clarity.
Well, let's take care of that first. for a
That's my
second.
understanding.
Correct?
That's
Mr.
my
Scrivo?
understanding.
I don't know if I can say it, yes.
I mean,
Okay.
this isn't geometry or
That's
trig
good.
or,
We got that out of the way.
logarithmic theory,
then-
so, you know.
As a result, concerns over the notice issues,
Which I don't have any concern about.
and someone else may disagree
So
with that.
what we're saying is
This
that
this is Hanover.
we would carry this item to March, unless I hear another date here, March the 12th at 7:30.
So, how much time would we be allotted that night, is, I guess, my question. Is it,
Well, I like to be in bed by 11, so,
no, but that's a regular council meeting, though.
you know.
So when would
It
we?
is.
Mayor,
And,
if I may, I know there's other business of the Township Committee. This application, we've heard clearly now by council, he doesn't want this considered. So I don't think you should vote no, I think it should just be a motion to table it.
I'll motion to table it.
Yes.
And I'll take a moment, and maybe I can speak to Mr. Scrivo and iron out some of the details and come back.
I think I understand where council is going for their clients' interests. But yes, I agree with that. So we're going to either table, carry, what
I
would
would
you
ask
like?
for a motion to table this.
Motion to
this matter
table.
Table.
Second.
All right, do I have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Until such
All right,
time,
all right, we have a roll call.
well, it would be to
Based
table
upon the following conditions.
until such time that the person-to-person application is voted upon as well, to the same meeting, whenever
That's
that
right.
may be.
That's, I understand.
Give me the place to place.
I understand.
I'm sorry, the place-to-place.
And I know why.
All right?
Uh,
Mayor, question, would we look at doing this, which we originally talked at a different date at 4:30 in the afternoon?
Do you want to set a special date?
Well, maybe, Mayor, I could speak to Mr. Scrivo, and we could kind of talk about those dates, and I can
Okay,
come
yeah.
right back to the governing
But
body
at
and
7:30,
talk
we're-
about that.
I'm,
Right.
I'm not really anxious to create a special meeting date for this. I would rather manage this
Okay,
in conjunction with our normal meeting schedule.
okay.
But I am willing to ask the committee to start earlier. And if you want to, if we have additional agenda, I would even say that we would hear this through 9:30 in order that the committee, 7:30, that's,
Yeah, well,
2
we
hours.
don't know if there will be an objector or there won't be. You know, I mean, we just had that letter, so that may play into the time
well, for
factor,
all
too.
intents and purposes, other than the objector, we thought we had closed all testimony on this at the last meeting.
Well, the township was also going to have the chief of police come and speak to his report, and also Mr. Blanchow was going to speak to the township zoning
So the
requirements.
township will present arguments for.
Well,
these-
it'd just be some evidence to put in from the township department, the planner and the police chief.
Which,
All right, counsel, so are you two gentlemen going to want to discuss
I'd
this
like
a little
to,
further?
yeah, I'd like to speak to Mr.
Before I-
Scrivo while everybody's here.
There's a motion on the table.
There's a motion to table.
There was a
All
second
right, it's
to it. We
roll
need to have a
call.
vote
Yes.
on this.
Okay, who
Please.
made the motion?
Roll call.
John, and who
And,
seconded it?
and Tom.
Seconded by
Tom.
Committeeman Gallagher. On roll call, motion to table. Mr. Gallagher?
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska?
Aye.
Mr. Capola?
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So tabled.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you, counsel.
thank you, Mayor.
I'll discuss this with you. Okay, Mr. Administrator, you got that out of the way. I'm just looking at my agenda here.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with the agenda, we have two ordinances for public hearing. The first is docketed as ordinance number 1-15, amending and supplementing Chapter 166 of the Code, entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, by revising the definition and application of floor area regulations. We'll note for the record that we have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the January 29th issue of the Daily Record. The ordinance was filed and received by the Department of Planning and Public Works for the County of Morris on the 28th of January. We also have a letter from the Planning Board dated February 10th, 2015. And I'll just state the ordinance in part because of my laryngitis, that the Planning Board has determined that Ordinance 1-15 is not substantially inconsistent with the land use or housing elements of the master plan, but it does state that it does not have any objection to not approve the ordinance for adoption this evening. So that ordinance is in the record at this time.
I'll submit a motion on behalf of that ordinance.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to open the public hearing, second by Mr. Capola. On roll call to convene the public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 1-15?
Move it close.
Second.
No one to speak at the public hearing. We have a motion closed by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Faramasca. On the motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now, on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee
You didn't choke on this,
amending
did you?
and supplementing Chapter 166 of the Code of the Township, entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, by revising the definition and application of floor area regulations, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the February 19th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Faramasca, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted. Signature.
If I get sick, you can't hide.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ordinance number 2-15, repealing Chapter 5 of the Code of the Township entitled Boards and Commissions, Vacancies, and the establishment of new Chapter 5 entitled Regulations Governing Board Meetings, Attendance, and Removal from Ordinance for Non-Excused Absences. The ordinance and the notice of adoption appeared in full in the January 29th issue of the Daily Record. May we have a motion to convene the public
So
hearing?
moved.
Moved by Mr. Faramasca, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for the public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 2-15?
Move it
Seeing
close.
none, hearing none, we have a motion by Mr. Capola to
Second.
close the public hearing, second by Mr. Faramasca. On roll call to close the public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Excuse me. On adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee, repealing Chapter 5 of the Code entitled Boards and Commissions, Vacancies on, and the establishment of a new Chapter 5 entitled Regulations Governing Board Meeting Attendance and Removal from Office for Non-Excused Absences, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the February 19th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramaska, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted.
Can you do the next four consent?
I am, Mr. Capola, you're absolutely right.
What's
They're
that?
all
Want to
have-
save your voice.
Thank you.
I can't get rid of them.
Bad penny. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take ordinance numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7 as a consent agenda because they're all introduced tonight and they all have the same public hearing date as February 26th. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning any of those ordinances will be given the opportunity to speak on the 26th of February. All 4 ordinances and the notices of introduction will be published in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. May we have a motion on the approval
So moved.
on introduction of the
Second.
consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher,
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
And also the resolutions as a consent agenda. Are there any questions about resolutions A through J?
I have
Move they be approved.
I have a motion by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Faramaska. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
And also the raffle applications as consent agenda. May we have a motion
Move
for
they be
approval?
approved.
We have a motion by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for approval of the raffle applications. Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Sorry, did you sign those?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli. Thank you.
Aye.
So approved. Payment of bills, $4,103,297.96.
Move we pay the bills.
We have a motion by Mr. Faramaska.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Francioli, I'm sorry, Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mayor and members of the Township Committee.
Thank you,
for putting
Business
up with my
Administrator, for
voice.
hanging in there tonight. You're a real trooper.
And you are excused.
And I am going.
Exactly. Good night, Mr. Giorgio.
Please
Thank you.
go home.
I gotta take care of the
And
voice.
if any one of us gets the sniffles, you're in
More than the
big
sniffles.
trouble.
Hot chicken soup.
You're in big
I had that
trouble.
today, Mr. Faramaska.
Didn't work.
No ice cream.
Oh, I need that.
That's right.
Go home. Just leave me all your
No ice
resolutions.
cream.
Is this all your resolutions? And those are the other, okay, goodbye.
Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
The records show that the administrator is excusing himself. Okay, at this time, gentlemen, any other comment from the Township Committee?
Mayor, I have a couple.
Tom? Yes, absolutely.
First of all, I'd like to thank Brian Ferran and the Hanover Township DPW. The last few storms in Hanover Township and in the Northeast have been a little bit tricky and unpredictable. Pushing snow and salting is one thing, but we've had a couple ice storms, which are the most dangerous kind of storms. And I'd like to say that our DPW was fantastic. They were on the ball. We were all in constant touch with them. And our streets, most of the time, were blacktop. And I'm in several different towns a day, and I just want to say these guys did a great job. And I think I could speak for the committee and many Hanover Township residents in saying we all appreciate it, and we think they did a great job. And thank you, guys.
They really did.
Second.
How you doing on salt?
We're waiting for more salt, and we're a little bit low on salt, actually.
I'm hearing more and more municipalities are starting to run into this again. Not unusual for this time of year. Okay, thank you for that, Tom.
The other portion of the storms is a bunch of us created a thing called the Unofficial Hanover Township Storm Desk Central, where we all communicate on Facebook, and the Office of Emergency Management shares weather forecasts. We're all in communication with different warnings coming up, different roads that are bad. And, you know, we've even shared information about sidewalks that haven't been shoveled and bus stops that didn't have access for our children to get to. And it helped all of us work together to try to make all our residents safer, especially little kids walking to the bus stops in the morning. Two more quickies. This Saturday at 1:30, we have a girl in Hanover Township, Jessica, going for a gold award with her Girl Scouts, and this we talked about for a few months. AMA is working with the Substance Awareness Council. This award was 80 hours, and she's going to be doing her presentation this Saturday, 1:30 at Whippany Park High School, and everybody's invited to come check it out. And the last thing I want to say is Tuesday, March 3rd, the School and Park Traffic Safety Advisory Committee is going to have their second public hearing. We had one last year at the same time, and we're having one this Tuesday, March 3rd. And our purpose is to listen to questions, comments, and constructive criticism about these highly congested areas, go over some of the improvements we've made in 2014, and some of the improvements we'd like to make in 2015. But again, we want the public input, and we want the input from the people that live in these areas and travel these areas. That's my report, Mayor. My update.
Thank you, Tom. Very good. Anyone else like to be heard? Don? Joe?
Yeah.
George?
Yeah, I'd just like to note that I thank the committee during the whole budget process for the support that they have given to the landmark. They've become quite a group with the township in their, with the many historic significance within the town itself. The budget is allowing them now to continue with the burial yard, doing the work that they have done to make it a real nice area where people can actually see the history of the township. Also, we got some monies to start restoring the stones. There's a lot of historic significance with individuals that are buried, but through the many years, the weather has done its tolls on those stones, which are starting to crack, fall apart, as well as the heavy traffic on Route 10. So the committee has been really understanding. The landmark didn't get everything they want, but they got a step forward in the right direction. And for that, I thank the committee for their support. I mean, that is the history of Hanover. There's a lot there. And they even got to the point where they met with the Scott Pepper, our superintendent of schools, and they're actually working out a program for the K-8 in this elementary schools to kind of bring the younger generation to understand more about the history of Hanover. Because there is so much history that is here in this town. And the landmark is bringing it to the forefront. So thank you all very much. I really thank the committee for all their support. And I know I speak on behalf of the Landmark Commission.
Doing great work on that. I know they have a lot of very aggressive plans, and we're trying to budget for them along the way, and keeping with our principal objective, and that is to not increase taxes in the town, and everyone was cooperative about that. Also, it goes without saying that our library board had some particular needs this year. Sue Das, our librarian, will be leaving us, and a full-time librarian will be coming in to fill her shoes, and Township Committee provided budgeting that would allow for that full-time person and a 2% increase in order to protect the programs in the library. So that's happening. John, you have any comments?
Yeah, once again, I think acknowledgement is in order here. I want to personally extend my thanks to Mr. Esposito, who did a fine job in terms of the budget, along with the department heads. They worked on developing what I would call a cost-efficient budget, cost-efficient in terms of 0% increase. That's hard to do with $24 million budget. And an effective budget, a budget that will be sustainable in terms of it has built-in elements that will allow us to achieve efficiencies. And compliments go to the mayor as well for leading the charge and giving us the challenge, which we all rose to the occasion and pulled off a 0% increase budget. So I think it's a special acknowledgement, and it's well-deserved.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that very much. I just like a brief comment, and that is we would be very derelict in our duty. We didn't recognize the fact that one of our municipal families' wives, Dot Steiger, as we all know very, very well, the wife of past mayor and committeeman Bob Steiger, is ill. We are praying for her recovery. We hope that she's gets through this difficult time. Prayers are with her, and Bob, we hope for the best for the family. So on that note, any other comment from the committee? If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to open once again. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, floor is now open, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to address the Township Committee at this time, you can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record. Seeing none, hearing none. Motion to close.
Second.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Motion for adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
All right.
Joseph, why am I still looking at you?
I'm just
Joe.
closing this down. I'm going now.
Oh,
Just gotta close this.
get out of here. Oh, God. All right, gentlemen, we still have some work to do, so we'll be going back into conference session.
Joe.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mr.
Good night.
Giorgio.
Thank
Go
you.
home, Joe.